Okay, our new topic is mixed group. Yeah, our new topic is mixed group, and we are going to learn this topic within 1 week, inshallah. So, first thing I will share with you the notes on this topic. Okay, can you see the note?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, all right. So, what we are going to learn from this word note, yeah. Okay, actually we are not going to read all the 7 pages. Okay, we are going to read a few pages only, and then we are going to look at the note from Excel, and then after that we are going to discuss about question, okay, from tutorial question. Okay, so first thing that we have to understand here is what is mixed group. Okay, before Hari Raya we have learned about vertical group. Okay, vertical group, and today we are going to learn about mixed group. Mixed group is also known as D-shaped group. Okay, so we can see from here D-shape, D-shape. Okay, this diagram show a D shape. It is not exactly like a D, but it is known as D shape. Okay, so what is the definition of mixed group or D-shaped group? In a mixed group situation, the parent entity has a direct control interest in at least one subsidiary. This is a must. Yeah? In a mixed group situation, the parent entity has a direct controlling interest in at least one subsidiary. So there must be at least one subsidiary. There is a holding company and there is a subsidiary company. So after that, everything will follow. In addition, the parent entity has the subsidiary. Together, hold a controlling interest in a further entity. So we can see from here, okay, you can see from here, H. Yeah, H is the parent. Okay, H is the parent or the holding, and H has a subsidiary S. H has a subsidiary S, and its controlling interest is 60%. So the requirement of a group, the requirement of a mixed group is substantiated here, whereby there must be at least a holding company and there must be at least a subsidiary. So S is a subsidiary of H. And then H together with S own shares in another company. H is the parent, S is the subsidiary, together. Both of them hold shares in another company, T. So H has 30% interest in T and S has 30% interest in T. So when we combine together H percentage, that is 30%, and S percentage, that is 30%. So, okay, basically it has, they have 60%. They have 60% interest in T. However, okay, the explanation will follow. Okay, here we can see that H controls 60% of S. Yeah, H controls 60% of S. Therefore, S is a subsidiary of H. Yeah, S is a subsidiary of H. That one we understand because H controls 60% of S. And then H controls 30% of T directly. And another 30% indirectly via its interest in S. T is therefore a sub-subsidiary of H group. Okay, so by having here, okay, a subsidiary, itu syarat pertama, kena ada subsidiary. Kemudian, the parent and the subsidiary together acquire shares in another company. Okay, H hold 30%, S hold 30%. So T is indirectly a subsidiary of H. Okay, T is therefore a subsidiary of H group. And the effective interest rate, yeah, the effective interest for the group, the group control in T, there is a direct interest of 30%. Okay, there is a direct interest of 30%. How to get 30%? This one. H direct interest in T is 30%. And then H also has indirect interest. Indirect interest is 60% times 30%. That is equal to 18%. So altogether, the interest of H group in T is 48%. 48%. And the non-controlling interest is 52%. Okay, class? Yeah. I re-explain. Okay. H has control of S 60%. So S is the subsidiary of H. That one, no problem. Everybody can understand. And then H control 30% of T directly, and another 30% indirectly via its interest in S. So T is therefore a subsidiary of H group. And the effective interest is direct interest 30% and indirect interest 18%. How to get 18%? 60% times 30%. And the total is 48%. Therefore, the non-controlling interest is 52%. Let's look at the date of acquisition. Suppose H acquired a 60% interest in S on 1st January 2012 and acquired its 30% interest in T on the same date. Subsequently, S subsequently acquired its 30% interest in T on 1st July 2012. So when is the date of acquisition of T? Yeah, when is the date of acquisition of T? Is it 1st January 2012 or is it 1st July 2012? Okay, the answer is 1st July 2012 because only on 1st July the group has control of T. On 1st January it is only 30%. And then on 1st July the group has 48% direct and indirect interest in T. Initially, from 1st January 2012, H exercises significant influence over T as an associate entity. It is only on 1st July 2012 that H has access to more than 50% of the voting power in T. T is therefore consolidated into H group accounts as a subsidiary from 1st July 2012. Okay? Jadi maknanya pada 1 Julai 2012 barulah T menjadi subsidiary kepada group, kepada H group. Apa lagi? Alternatively, suppose H acquired 60% interest in S on 1st January 2012 and acquired its 30% interest in T on the same date, and S also acquired its interest in T on 1st January 2012. Therefore, the date of acquisition is 1st January 2012. Jadi begitulah kalau katakan S pun acquired pada tarikh yang sama 1 Januari 2012, maka tarikh acquisition of T adalah 1st January 2012. Note that the definition of mixed group does not include the situation where the parent and associate together hold a controlling interest in a further entity. For example, macam ni. H owns 35% interest in S. S owns 40% of W. And H owns 40% of W. Jadi dalam keadaan ini kita tak panggil dia sebagai mixed group. Sebab dekat situ tak ada subsidiary. Syarat dia, there must be at least one subsidiary. So in this situation, even though when we add the two together, 35 and 40 is 75. when we add together 40 and 40 is 80. Walaupun besar ni, lebih besar daripada yang tadi. Tadi 60 saja. Sekarang ni 80. Tetapi tidak membolehkan grup ini dipanggil mixed group. Sebab apa? Sebab tidak ada satu subsidiary pun kat sini. Tidak ada satu subsidiary. Maknanya kita ada H, walaupun S tapi dia bukan parent. H bukan parent kepada S. Sebab holding dia hanyalah 35%. So in this situation, it is not a D-shaped group. It is not a mixed group. It is, okay, it is not considered as a group of companies. Jadi kita tak boleh nak kata dia sebagai group of companies. Walaupun kita nampak kat sini ada 80% ya. Tidak melayakkan dia untuk menjadi group of companies. Okay, kita tengok lagi sekali di bawah. This is not the mixed group situation. Neither S nor W is a member of the group, although S and W may both be associate of H. Jadi associate ni kita akan belajar dalam topik yang berikutnya minggu depan. Kalau less than 50% kita panggil associate. Itu minggu depan dah kita cover. Okay. So sekarang ni H interest in W might be calculated as before. That is 35% times 40%. It is equal to 14% plus 40% equal to 54%. Although H has an arithmetic interest in W that is more than 50%, it does not have parent entity control over W. As it does not control S, 40% stake in W. Jadi grup yang tadi tu kita tak panggil dia sebagai grup lah. Tidak wujud grup di situ. Okay. Now we are going to talk about consolidation. How are we going to consolidate a D-shaped group? Number one, the approach is similar to deal with subsidiaries. That is, an effective interest is computed and used to allocate the share capital and retained earning. Secondly, all consolidation workings are the same as those used in vertical group situation with exception of goodwill. The goodwill calculation for the subsidiary differs from that of the two element cost must be considered, namely the cost of the parent direct holding and number two, the cost of indirect holding, that is the parent percentage of the cost of the subsidiary holding. So maknanya, okay, when we want to calculate the consideration transfer, there are two consideration transfer. The first one is the direct interest of the parent, and secondly, the indirect interest of the parent. Next, okay, for this example, we are not going to touch this example. Okay, kita akan pergi kepada example dalam Excel ya. Kita akan tengok example dalam Excel terus. Okay. Tapi awak boleh baca lah, bukan tak boleh baca, ni boleh baca ya, boleh teruskan untuk membaca, tapi saya tak akan cover. Saya akan cover yang Excel. Okay, so ini adalah example dalam Excel ya. Example dalam Excel yang saya dah bagi pada malam tadi. So this example is basically based on example 3 in page 553. Okay, so for those who have the book, you can refer to example in page 553. Okay, in example in page 553 mixed group. Okay, siapa ada buku boleh refer lah pada buku tadi. Yeah. So kat situ kita ada example 3. But this example has been modified. Okay. So given below are the statement of financial position of H, S and X. There are 3 companies, H, S and X. Okay. And then we are given the statement of financial position there. Okay, ordinary share of H 400,000, S 100,000 and X is 100,000, and then return profit, return profit. So in the book, the return profit is 100,000, 70,000 and 80,000. That is in the book. However, in this example, it has been broken into two. It has been broken into two. That is return profit brought down and current year. So 80 plus 20 is also 100. 60 plus 10 is also 70 and 60 plus 20 is also 80. Jadi samalah dengan dalam buku tu, cuma dia modify sikit saja. Okay. Kemudian dekat bawah tu kita ada investment in S dan investment in X. So kita nampak we have investment in S, we have investment in X, and here also investment in X. Okay, maknanya dalam X ni ada 2 investment. Yang pertama investment dibuat oleh H, yang kedua investment dibuat oleh S. Dan last sekali kita ada sundry asset. Okay. Okay, additional information. Additional information. Kita tengok atas sekali. Tu dia. Additional information. H acquired the ordinary shares of S on 1st January X1. Okay. H acquire ordinary share of S on 1st January X1. How many percent? 80%. 80%. When the retained profit was 20,000. Yeah, when the retained profit was 20,000. And the consideration transferred is 110,000. That is number 1. Additional information A. Additional information B. H and S. H and S acquired the shares in X on 1st January X2 when the retained profit of X had a credit balance of 10,000. So, H dengan S ni, H dengan S together acquire shares di dalam X. Acquire shares di dalam X. Jadi, S punya direct interest in X, pada 1 Januari 20X2 adalah berapa? 75. The consideration transferred is 75. Okay. On that date, the retained profit of X was 10,000. And then H pula, H has a direct interest in X also. And the percentage is 20%. Percentage 20%. And the cost incurred was 30,000. Okay, 30,000. Jadi sekarang ni kita nak tahu how many percent. How many percent actually H control X. Okay. So dekat sini ada 2 calculation. Yang pertama ada direct interest sebanyak 20%. Yang kedua ada indirect interest sebanyak 48%. Macam mana dia boleh dapat indirect interest 48%? Indirect interest tadi didapati dengan cara 80%, that is the relationship between H and S, time the relationship between S and X, that is 60%. Jadi S ni dia acquire ordinary share of X sebanyak 60%. Jadi 80 kali 60 sama dengan 48. So 20 plus 48 is equal to 68. Therefore the non-controlling interest is 32%. So in this question, there are two subsidiaries. The first subsidiary is S, 80%, and the second subsidiary is X, that is 68%. Okay, 68%. Okay, boleh faham yang ni? Setakat soalan ni boleh faham ya? Yang percentage ni boleh faham tak?
Boleh, Prof.
Boleh, Prof.
Okay, faham ya? Warna biru. Warna hijau kot. Warna hijau. Okay. Okay, next kita akan tengok pula creation of goodwill. Okay. Sebelum itu, disebabkan dia modify kita punya statement of financial position tadi, yang mana statement of financial position kita pecahkan dia punya profit tu kepada profit brought forward dan profit for the year. So, dia create sekali lah dia punya statement of profit or loss for the year 31st December 20x3. Okay, so kita tengok di sini. Kita dapati kat sini profit after tax for the year adalah 20, 10 and 20. Jadi yang atas ni dia create lah. Untuk dapatkan 20, dapatkan 10, dapat 20 ni dia create lah. So revenue 260, tolak expenses 180 sama dengan 80, tolak 60, tax sama dengan 20. Okey, kemudian revenue untuk S 150 minus 110. Okay, profit before tax is 40 minus 30 is equal to 10. And statement of profit or loss untuk X, revenue 200, expenses 140, profit before tax is 60, taxation is 40, and profit after tax for the year is 20. Jadi nampak macam sebenarnya nampak macam janggal sikit lah dia punya profit tu apabila kita nampak dia punya tax tu besar sangat kan. Untung 80, cukai 60. Untung 40, cukai 30. Untung 60, cukai 40. Tapi tak apa. This is for the purpose of understanding. Ya. Jadi dengan adanya statement of profit or loss ni nanti kita lebih faham lah dengan tajuk ni. Okay. Now we want to calculate the goodwill. So for calculation of goodwill for S, we will have no problem because it is very straightforward. It is very straightforward whereby, okay, the goodwill of S is calculated by comparing the consideration transferred plus non-controlling interest and fair value of net asset acquired on the date of acquisition. So, the consideration transferred for S is 110. Okay, 110 And fair value of net asset on the date of acquisition, okay, share capital 100 and retained earning is 20. So altogether it is 120. Okay, 120. And then after we find the 120, we can now calculate the non-controlling interest for S. Non-controlling interest for S is 20%. 120 times 20% is equal to 24,000. 110,000 plus 24,000 equal to 134,000. That is fair value of investment. We compare with fair value of net asset 120,000. Therefore, we get the goodwill of 14,000. Okay, I believe everybody is okay with that. Okay, now we are going to calculate the goodwill for X. Okay, we are going to calculate the goodwill for X. So, just now, in the notes, okay, there is an explanation that when we want to calculate the goodwill, okay, the consideration transferred is divided into two portion. That is direct interest and indirect interest. Direct interest and indirect interest. Okay, we can see from here. The direct interest by H. Okay, the direct interest by H is how much? 30,000. Okay, direct interest by H is 30,000. How much is direct interest of S? Direct interest of S is 75,000. Okay, direct interest of S is 75,000, and indirect interest of NCI is how many percent? 20%. Okay, 20% times 75,000, that is equal to 15,000. Okay, 15,000 here negatif. Jadi yang ni sama betul dengan apa yang kita buat dalam tajuk kita, iaitu vertical. Apabila ada indirect investment, maka kita akan ada NCI indirect kat sini. So NCI indirect is 15,000. Okay. Okay, persoalannya, boleh ke kita terus buat kat sini 60,000? Terus letakkan 60,000, boleh tak? Boleh juga. Boleh juga kalau kita nak letak terus 60,000, iaitu kita letakkan kat situ 75,000 times 80%. Terus saja kita letakkan 60,000. Okay. So, next is to show the fair value of net asset acquired. Fair value of net asset acquired is 100,000 plus 10,000. 100,000 is share capital, 10,000 is the retained earning. Okay, 100,000 is share capital and 10,000 is retained earning. So altogether it is 110,000. Daripada 110,000 tadi, kita calculate kita punya non-controlling interest, that is 32%. 32% kali dengan 110 sama dengan 35,200. 35,200. So, consideration transferred plus non-controlling interest, we get 125.2 ataupun 125,200. Kemudian kita compare dengan fair value of net asset, that is 110,000. Kita dapat goodwill juga kali ini 15,200. Okay class, is that okay? The calculation of goodwill for indirect subsidiary. Any problem with that?
Okay, Prof.
Okay, so kalau kita okay, kita teruskan lagi dengan macam biasalah, kita pergi pada analysis. Analysis of brought down and carried down. So, acquisition berlaku pada tarikh bila? Acquisition berlaku pada 1 Januari 20X1, 1 Januari 20X2 dan statement of financial position 31 Disember 20X3. Jadi, maknanya pada 1 Januari 20X3 kita dah ada balance brought down. Okay, sebab itulah kita boleh buat analysis brought down. Okay, so analysis brought down. Okay, kita ada dua kolom kat sini. The first column is group retained earning. Second column is non-controlling interest. Okay, so on the date of acquisition of S and on the date of acquisition of X, the amount of NCI is 24,000 for S and 35,200 for X. And at the same time, there is an indirect interest by non-controlling interest of 20% times 75,000 equal to 15,000. We put in bracket. Okay. Sama juga masa kita belajar dalam vertical group. Okay, next. We want to know how much is the retained profit brought down of S. So retained profit brought down of S on 1st January 20X3 is 60,000 from the question. And on the date of acquisition is 20,000. So the post-acquisition profit brought down is 40,000 times 80% for the group retained earning and 20% for the non-controlling interest. Next, X. X was acquired on 1st January 20X1. Therefore, on 1st January 20X3, we have already a balance brought down of 60,000. And on the date of acquisition, the balance was 10,000. So, retained profit brought down post-acquisition is 50 times 68% equal to 34. Okay, time 32% equal to 16. X, retained profit of Edge on 1st January 2000 X3 is 80 and straight away goes to group retained earning. Altogether, the balance brought down of group retained earning is 146,000 and the non-controlling interest is 68,200. Is it okay, class? Okay, yeah? Next, we go to analysis carried down. So for the analysis carried down, we still have two columns also, and we have the same amount of non-controlling interest on the date of acquisition, 24, 35.2, and 15,000 negative. Okay, so what is the balance of retained profit carried down of subsidiary S? It is 70 as per question. Yeah, 70. On the date of acquisition is 20. So post-acquisition, retained profit carried forward is 50. Time 80% equal to 40 here. And time 20% equal to 10 here. What about X? Retained earning carried down is 80,000. On the date of acquisition is 10,000. Therefore, post-acquisition retained profit carried down is 70 times 68% equal to 47.6. Time 32% is equal to 22.4. Lastly, retained profit of Ash brought down 80,000 plus current year 20,000 equal to 100,000. So, the retained profit carried down is 187,600 and non-controlling interest carried down is 76.6. Next, we go to the consolidated statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income for the group. So we add together all the revenue from the three companies of H, S, and X. It equals to 610,000. And then expenses. Expenses pun sama juga, kita campurkan tiga-tiga company 430,000. So total profit is 180,000. Minus taxation of the three companies 130. Profit after tax is 50,000. Okay, out of 50,000, out of 50,000 profit after tax of the group, not all amount are belong to the parent. Okay, some amount belong to the non-controlling interest. Okay, since there are two subsidiaries, we are going to calculate how much profit of the subsidiaries are belong to the non-controlling interest. Okay, so we go to the first subsidiary, S. The profit after tax of S is only 10,000. 10,000, yeah. So out of 10,000, 20% belong to non-controlling interest. Therefore, 10,000 times 20% is equal to 2,000. So 2,000 of S profit is belong to non-controlling interest. What about X? Profit after tax of X is 20,000 times 32% interest of NCI equal to 6,400. Okay, so when we add the two together, 2,000 from S, 6,400 from X, the total is 8,400. So out of 50,000, 6,400 plus 2,000 is belong to non-controlling interest. So we put here 8,400 non-control interest, and the balance belong to the parent. Okay, the balance belong to the parent 41,600. Okay, kelas? Kita teruskan lagi. Consolidated statement of changes in equity. Okay, so statement of changes in equity just now we have uh, calculated, we have analyzed the account balance brought down as well as carried down. Okay, so balance brought down of group retained earning is 146 and NCI is 68.2, and then we add profit for the year 41.6 for the group and 8.4 for the non-controlling interest. So at the end of the year, the balance carried down of group retained earning is 187.6 and the non-controlling interest is 76.6. Okay. Dan last sekali, statement of financial position. Kita buat dalam bentuk yang ringkas macam ni. Okay. Sundry asset combination of the three companies 635. Then goodwill, from the calculation of goodwill in working one 29.2. Okay. Total asset of the group is 664,200. Whereas the ordinary share is ordinary share of the parent only 400. Retained earning and non-controlling interest is the same amount as stated in the statement of changes in equity, and also analysis of financial statement brought down and carried down. Okay, class. So this is the simple example for this topic. Okay, maknanya tak ada adjustment lain lah. Adjustment dia hanyalah sekadar adjustment untuk kita nak faham tentang tentang mixed group ataupun mixed structure. Okay. Ada apa-apa soalan di sini sebelum kita tengok soalan tutorial? Tak ada ya? So bolehlah kita teruskan dengan soalan tutorial sebentar lagi. Okay. Okey, so saya bukakan dulu soalan tutorial ni. Kita boleh tengok dulu soalan ni sekejap. Kita akan sambung pada pukul 9 sekejap lagi. Okey, kita boleh tengok soalan ni. The summarized statement of financial position of 3 Berhad, Stem Berhad and Leaf Berhad as at 31st December 2013 are as follows. Okay, so kita tengok component of the statement of financial position. Kita ada property, plant and equipment. Kita ada intangibles. Investment in Stem Berhad. Investment in Stem Berhad ada 1.5 million ordinary shares and 200,000 preference shares. Kemudian kita ada investment yang kedua, investment in Leaf by 3 and by Stem. Jadi saya warnakan merah kat situ. Kemudian kita ada juga other investment. Okay, kita ada inventories, bill receivables, trade receivable, ordinary dividend receivable, and also bank. Jadi nampak kat sini ordinary dividend receivable. Saya highlight warna biru. Ini adalah dividen daripada subsidiary. Okay. Kemudian kita ada equity and liabilities. Ordinary share yang paling penting sekali. Ordinary share of RM1 each. Okay, kita ada untuk 3, 5650. Untuk stamp 2000 dan leaf 1250. Pada masa yang sama kita ada preference share di sini dalam tree dan leaf. Dalam tree dan stamp. Kemudian share premium ni adalah reserve reserve. Share premium adalah reserve existing. Okey, tetapi dia tak ada masalah sebab share premium dimiliki oleh tree. Okey, kita ada general reserve. General reserve of the three companies. Kemudian kita ada retained profit 1st January 2013 and profit for the year. So profit kat sini ada profit brought down dan juga profit for the year. Dan kita ada long term loan untuk leaf. Dan kita ada bill payable untuk 3 company, trade payable untuk 3 company dan ordinary dividend payable untuk 3 company. Okay. Seterusnya additional information. 3 Berhad bought the ordinary shares and preference shares in STEM on 1st January 2011. The consideration for the ordinary shares acquired was settled by STEM Berhad shareholders accepting 400,000 ordinary shares of 3 Berhad valued at RM2 each and 1,075,000 in cash. On the date of acquisition, the general reserve and retained profit of STEM Berhad were 25,000 and 237,500 respectively. Okay, so here the first thing that I want to know, I want you to calculate is what is the percentage? What is the percentage of ordinary shares invested by 3 in STEM? Berapa persen? Berapa persen ordinary share of STEM acquired by 3? Berapa persen? Ada siapa-siapa boleh jawab? Berapa persen ordinary share dalam STEM ni acquired by 3? Daripada total 2 juta ni? Yes.
75%.
Yes, good. 75%. 75%. Macam mana kita tahu 75%? 1.5 million divided by 2 million times 100%. Okay. What about preference share? preference share is 200,000 out of 500,000. Okay, 200,000 out of 500,000, that is equal to how many percent? 40%. Okay, now what is the amount of consideration transferred? Okay, from the question, the consideration transferred is 1875 here and 200,000 here. Okay, and the breakdown of the consideration transferred is shown in here. Okay, 400,000 ordinary shares times 2 ringgit, that is equal to 800,000, right? Plus 1075. 1,075,000 plus 800,000 equal to 1875. Jadi sama dengan di atas ni, 1875. Jadi kita kena kira tu, kita nak pastikan 1875 tu sama dengan apa yang ada dalam additional information. Okay, settle untuk acquisition of stamp. Apa lagi? Seterusnya yang kedua. On 1st July 2013. 1st July 2013 is the current year. Current year. Tri Berhad and Stamp Berhad acquired 20% and 60% of the issued ordinary shares of Leaf. Leaf ni dia ada berapa banyak ordinary share? 1250. Ya. Leaf ada 1,250,000. 20% and 60% acquired by Tri and Stamp respectively. Jadi Tri ni acquire sikit je, 20%. Tapi Stamp acquire banyak, 60%. Of the issued ordinary shares of Leaf respectively when the general reserve of Leaf Berhad was 125,000 and the fair value of net asset of Leaf Berhad on 1st July 2013 were equal to the carrying value except for two items. The first one is building, whose fair value was 100,000 more than its carrying value. And the remaining useful life was 40 years. So kat sini ada dua implication. Implication yang pertama adalah asset valuation reserve 100,000. Yang kedua, under provided depreciation sebanyak 100,000 bagi 40. Okay. Number 2, a permit which has a fair value of 2 million was not recorded in the book since the permit was granted at no cost to Leaf Berhad. So there is another asset revaluation reserve, that is permit 2 million. Permit 2 million. So kita ada dua ARR untuk apa dia? Untuk Leaf. Okay. Dan Leaf ni adalah indirect subsidiary of Tri. Indirect subsidiary of Tri. Next. On 28 February 2013, Leaf paid ordinary dividend of 50,000. Jadi bila dia bayar dividen 50,000 ni, berapa banyak dia akan bayar kepada Tri, berapa banyak dia akan bayar kepada Stamp. Dan yang keempat, the other investment of Tri Berhad refers to a 15% interest in the equity shares of Yoyo Berhad, which was acquired on 1st April 2013. Tri Berhad has classified this investment as financial asset at fair value to profit or loss in accordance with MFRS 139 financial instrument recognition and measurement. The increase in fair value of this investment amounting to 10,000 had not yet been recognized by the company. Okay. So ini adalah biasa je lah, simple investment. Next, number 5. On 30th July 2013, Tri Berhad sold a piece of land to Stamp Berhad at a profit of 35,000. This is unrealized profit. Okay, unrealized profit tetapi tak ada depreciation. Nombor 6. 100,000 of the long-term loan of Leaf Berhad was loan obtained from Tri Berhad. Tri Berhad included this amount as part of its bills receivable. Jadi yang ni intercompany balance lah. Intercompany balance yang mana apa dia? Long term loan. long term loan. Kita tengok dekat atas long term loan of Leaf. Kat sini. Long term loan of Leaf ni ada 250. Sepatutnya di dalam sepatutnya di dalam account 3 pun ada juga kat sini long term loan. Long term loan, tetapi tak ada. Sebab apa tak ada? Sebab dia masuk dalam bills receivable. Dia masuk dalam bills receivable. Number 6. Okay. Number 7, during the year, Stem Berhad sold goods to 3 Berhad at a profit of 6,000. By the year end, all these goods had been sold. Okay. To third parties. Jadi tak adalah unrealized profit kat situ. At 30th December 2013, 3 Berhad remitted 8,000 cash for the final settlement of the amount owing to Stem, but was not yet received by Stem until early January 2014. Okay, jadi apa ni? Ini adalah cash in transit. Cash in transit sebanyak 8,000. Okay, during the post-acquisition period, Leaf Berhad sold goods to 3 Berhad at an invoice price of 12,000. 2,000 of these sales had yet to be paid by 3 Berhad. Leaf Berhad made a profit of 20% on invoice price. By the end of the year, 40% of this good had been sold by 3 Berhad to third parties. Okay, ada dua perkara kat sini. Perkara pertama adalah intercompany balance, iaitu 2,000. Intercompany balance 2,000. Dan yang kedua adalah unrealized profit. Berapa banyak unrealized profit dia? 12,000 times 60% times 20%. 60% tu yang belum terjual, 20% tu adalah dia punya margin. Number 9. Banyak ni. Sampai 13. Number 9. On 1st September 2013, Stem Berhad sold to Leaf Berhad a plant of carrying value 20,000 for 30,000. The remaining life of the plant was 5 years. 1 September 2013, Stem jual kepada Leaf dengan keuntungan sebanyak 10,000. Remaining useful life 5 years. Okay, jadi apa yang berlaku kat sini? Number 1 is unrealized profit 10,000. Yang kedua, overprovided depreciation. Overprovided depreciation sebanyak 10,000 bagi 5. Okay, 10,000 bagi 5. Kemudian, as at 31st December 2013, goodwill on consolidation of Stem Berhad was impaired by 8%. Okay, goodwill of Stem impaired by 8%. So, kita dapatkan goodwill, kemudian kita kali dengan impairment 8%. Number 11. It is the policy of the group to depreciate all asset using straight line method on yearly basis. So, yang atas-atas tadi tu, termasuklah yang ni. Termasuklah ARR tadi. Depreciation dia adalah straight line method yearly basis. Number 12. It is the group policy to measure the non-controlling interest as proportionate of share of the fair value of identifiable net asset of the subsidiary. So, kita gunakan partial goodwill method. Dan last sekali, all profit are assumed to accrue evenly throughout the year. Okay, sebab kita ada satu subsidiary tadi yang dibeli pada pertengahan tahun. Jadi maknanya, dia punya profit tadi kita kena segregate kepada pre-acquisition dan post-acquisition period. Ada pre-acquisition period dan post-acquisition period. Ikhlas? So, itulah soalannya. Required prepare consolidated statement of financial position for 3 Berhad Group as at 31st December 2013. Okay, boleh faham soalannya? Boleh lah ya. Okey, so kita teruskan dengan jawapan ni. Okey. So, sebagai analisis ya, sebagai analisis, ingat tak tadi tarikh-tarikh acquisition? Ya, tarikh-tarikh acquisition, berapa bulan, berapa persen. Okey. So, kita tengok kat sini ya. Okey, di sini kita ada 3 direct investment in STEM. 3 direct investment in STEM sebanyak 75% dan NCI adalah 25%. Kemudian 3 punya direct investment in LIF 20% dan 3 indirect investment in LIF adalah 75% times 60%. So totalnya adalah 45%. 20 plus 45 equal to 65% dan non-controlling interest adalah 35%. Okey, ini adalah analisis yang ringkas lah. Analisis ringkas untuk acquisition. Jadi macam mana kita dapat amount 35% tadi? 35% tadi kita dapat dengan cara direct non-controlling interest 20% dan indirect non-controlling interest adalah 25% kali dengan 60%. So kita dapat 15%. Okay. Next. Kita nak calculate goodwill untuk kedua-dua company, untuk STEM dan LIF. Untuk STEM, very direct ya, ataupun very straightforward. Consideration transfer is 1875. Okay, 1875. Kemudian fair value of net asset comprised of share capital 2 million, retained earning 237,500 and general reserve is 25,000. Okay, itu saja, ada 3 item saja. Totalnya adalah 2,262,500. Okay. So daripada 2,262,500 kita calculate kita punya non-controlling interest. So non-controlling interest kita adalah 25% time 2,262,500. Kita dapatlah 565,600. Jadi bila kita campurkan consideration transfer 1,875,000 dengan non-controlling interest 565,600, kita dapat fair value of investment sebanyak 2,440,600. Kita compare dengan fair value of net asset 2,262,500. Kita pun dapat goodwill sebanyak 178,100. Dan daripada amount tu 8% adalah impact in the year 2013. So impairment is 8% time 178,100. Kita dapat 14,200. And the balance of goodwill after impairment is 163,900. Okay. Alright. Okay, sekarang ni kita pergi kepada calculation of goodwill untuk LIF Berhad. So LIF ni dia tak straightforward lah. Okay. Jadi dalam LIF ni dia ada 2 consideration transfer. Consideration transfer yang pertama adalah direct consideration transfer daripada 3. Tree telah membayar sebanyak 1.5 million. So kita masukkan lah. Direct investment by 3, 1.5 million. Kemudian indirect investment by indirect investment by STEM sebanyak 1,687,500. Okay. Kemudian kita tolak dengan NCI indirect sebanyak 25%, 421.9. Okay, 421.9. Dan okay, selepas tu kita tengok apakah dia list of fair value of net asset. Fair value of net asset comprise of share capital 1,250,000, retained earning 187,500, general reserve 125,000, ARR land 100,000, and ARR permit 2 million. So total fair value of net asset 3,662,500. Okay, from here we can calculate our non-controlling interest. So time 35% equal to 1281.9, 1,281,900. Jadi consideration transfer plus non-controlling interest, kita dapat fair value of investment 4,047,500 compared with the fair value of net asset 3,662,500. We get a goodwill of 385,000, and there is no impairment for LIF. So until the end of the year, the goodwill of LIF is 385,000. Is that okay, class?
Yeah. Sir, dekat NCI indirect under LIF tu, 25% tu yang mana satu?
25% ni, ini 25, okey. Ingat tak tadi masa kita dekat atas ni? Ni dia, 25. Kan dia 75 dan 25. 75 is holding, NCI is 25. Okey. Jadi whatever investment made by STEM invest sebanyak 1687.5. Betul? So 1687.5 ni dimiliki oleh dua pihak secara tidak langsung lah. Maknanya siapakah pihak tadi? Pihak yang pertama adalah holding 75% dan pihak yang kedua adalah NCI 25%. So bila kita letakkan kat sini 1687.5 ini adalah 100%. Okay, 100%. So untuk dapatkan percentage untuk LIF, untuk dapatkan percentage untuk investment yang dibuat oleh 3 di dalam LIF, maknanya indirect investment, kita kena kali dengan 75%. Kan? 1687 kali dengan 75%, kita akan dapat satu angka. Ataupun another way adalah kita letakkan di sini 1687.5, lepas tu kita tolak dengan 25%, 421.9. Jadi maknanya macam saya sebut pada kelas yang sebelum raya hari tu, kita boleh buat sama ada kita calculate terus kali dengan 75% ataupun kita tolak dekat bawah tu. Kita tolak dekat bawah. Jadi kalau kita terus kali dengan 75%, sekejap 1687.5 kali dengan 0.75, kita akan dapat 1265625. 1265625 itu kalau kita terus kali dengan 75%. Tapi kalau kita nak letakkan dia 1687.5, kita kena letakkan di bawah dia, tolak dengan 25%. Maknanya sebenarnya kita nak tunjukkan dekat situ net dia adalah 75%. Okay. Ini yang selalu sebenarnya yang student confuse kat sini. Kenapa kita letak 25 bukan 35? Mungkin macam tu lah awak punya tu kan? Betul ke?
Dia pun.
Macam tu ke bukan?
Bukan.
Is it like that? So apa yang kita kena tahu, investment yang dibuat oleh STEM ni ada dua pihak. Ada dua pihak yang menuntut. Sebab apa? Sebab STEM ni dimiliki oleh dua orang. STEM dimiliki oleh holding dan juga dimiliki oleh NCI. Jadi holding memiliki 75% sahaja. Manakala NCI memiliki 25% daripada apa-apa saja yang dibuat oleh STEM. Jadi kalau STEM invest banyak 1687.5, maka 75% belong to H. 25% belong to NCI. Itulah sebabnya kita kali dengan 25% kat situ. Ini memang kat sini ni selalu student confuse lah. Jadi kena faham betul-betul lah kat sini ni. Kalau tak nak confuse macam ni, kita kali terus je dengan 75%. Boleh juga. So indirect 1687.5 kali dengan 75%. Terus kita dapat 1265.625. 1265.625. Tapi kalau kita buat macam tu, tak perlu lagi lah yang 421.9 ni. Is that okay?
Okay, Prof.
Okay, ya. Okay. So yang lain-lain pun kalau ada apa-apa soalan boleh terus tanyalah. Jadi jangan malu, jangan segan. Kelas kita ni akan bergerak terus. Jadi siapa yang tak nak tanya tu, dia akan tertinggal lah ya. Jadi kita tak nak anybody tertinggal. Kita nak bila ada apa-apa soalan saja terus tanya soalan. So very good siapa yang tanya soalan tadi tu. Okay. So kita terus buat analisis carry down kat sini. Ya, analisis carry down. Ini pun satu persoalan juga, kenapa kita tak buat analisis brought down. Tiba-tiba kita buat analisis carry down ya. Okay, jadi kita tengok tadi acquisition berlaku pada tahun bila. Tengok dalam soalan acquisition. Okay. Statement of financial position ni adalah statement of financial position pada 31 December 2013. Kemudian acquisition yang pertama adalah pada Januari 2011 dan acquisition yang kedua berlaku pada 1 Julai 2013. Okey. Jadi apabila kita nak buat statement of financial position, okey, sebenarnya kita ada dua pilihan, sama ada kita nak buat analisis untuk dua-dua ya, iaitu carry down dengan brought down, ataupun kita nak buat analisis yang carry down sahaja. Okey. Jadi untuk statement of financial position sebenarnya memadai kalau kita nak buat analisis carry down sahaja. Ya, sebab kita nak letakkan angka-angka analisis carry down ni nanti di dalam statement of financial position Dalam statement of financial position kita nanti kita nak letakkan angka-angka dalam equity tu kat sini ya. Ni saya nak tunjukkan, saya akan colorkan dulu warna hijau. Okey. Ni. Sebab kita nak dapat tiga perkara ni, share premium, general reserve, retain profit ni daripada analysis of financial statement carried down. Jadi maksudnya kita tak perlu untuk yang brought down lah. Okay. Tapi kalau kita nak buat statement of profit or loss, okay, kita memerlukan dah yang brought down tu. Okay. So kita pergi kepada analysis of financial statement carried down kita. Okey. So kita bermula dengan NCI ya. NCI kita pada tarikh acquisition of STEM dan juga LIF ya. So on acquisition of STEM, the non-controlling interest based on the calculation of goodwill is 565.6. Okay, 565.6. Okay, kemudian NCI of LIF. NCI of LIF based on calculation of goodwill also. Okay, the value of NCI is 1281.9. And then this one is investment of NCI in LIF. Yang kita panggil tadi indirect investment tadi, 1687.5 times 25% equal to 421.9. Dan last sekali kita ada non-control interest in preference share of stamp. Ingat tak tadi? Preference share tu 3 acquire 200,000. Jadi bakinya 300,000 tu dikuasai oleh NCI. Okey. Jadi ada 4 item kat sini. 4 item NCI. Okey, seterusnya. Retain profit carried down of stamp based on the question. It comprised of 2 figures, iaitu profit brought down dan juga current year profit. 350 plus 175. Kita dapatlah 525. Okey, lepas tu kita tolak dengan retain earning on the date of acquisition 237.5. Dan kita ada unrealized profit on plant. Tak tadi dia jual plant pada harga 30,000 sedangkan carrying amount dia adalah 20,000. Okey. Kemudian remaining useful life adalah 5 years. Jadi remaining useful life 5 years, 10,000 bagi dengan 5 over provided depreciation adalah 2,000. So 525 minus 237.5 minus 10 plus 2 equal to 279.5 time how many percent? 75%. Equal to 209.6 and time 25% equal to 69.9. Next. General reserve carried down. General reserve carried down 170 and on the date of acquisition is 25. Jadi kita ada sebanyak 145 post acquisition general reserve. Ya, kali dengan 75% kita dapat 108.8. Kali dengan 25% kita dapat 36.3. Okey, leave pula. Leave return earning carried down 150 plus 125 equal to 275. On the date of acquisition 187.5. And then there is a depreciation on building. Remember just now the building was revalued, increased by 100,000, and remaining useful life is 40 years. So 100,000 divided by 40 equal to 2,500 under provided. Depreciation under provided. And there is unrealized profit on inventory. Okay. Do you remember just now unrealized profit on inventory? The sale of inventory is 12 million times 60% times 20%. Dapat tak ni? 1.44 ni. Dapat 1.44 ataupun 1,440. So, the balance of profit of leave carried down is 83.56. Okay, 83.56 kali dengan 65% kita dapat 54.3. Kali dengan 35% kita dapat 29.2. Next, general reserve. General reserve of leave carried down 125 on the date of acquisition sama. Jadi tak ada yang baru. Tak adalah kita nak kali-kali dengan 65%. Dan last kali financial statement of 3. Kita ada 2 item. Yang pertama retain earning. Brought down plus current year 750. Jangan lupa ada unrealized profit on land. Jual tanah dengan harga 35 melebihi. Tapi tanah ni dia tak ada depreciation. Okay. Jadi maknanya kita ada unrealized profit sajalah. Kemudian jangan lupa kita ada goodwill impairment. Goodwill impairment sebanyak 14.2. Dan ada fair value gain on investment in Yoyo sebanyak 10,000. Okay, 10,000. Okay. So bolehlah kita totalkan kita punya group return earning carried down ni 974,700. Manakala group general reserve pula kita campurkan general reserve yang atas-atas tadi campur dengan general reserve of 3 sebanyak 450. Atas tadi pun ada juga general reserve sebanyak 108.3 campur 450 558.75. Dan jangan lupa kita totalkan non-controlling interest 1861. 1861. Dan apa lagi kat bawah tu? Last kali, statement of financial position. Statement of financial position kita bermula dengan property, plant and equipment. Okay. So, property, plant, equipment, kita campur semua sekali property of the parent and the subsidiary. Property of tree, property of stem, property of leaf, plus ARR. ARR tadi. ARR of building. Sebanyak 100,000. Under provided depreciation, 100,000 divided by 40. Minus 35 unrealized profit. 35 unrealized profit. Minus 10 unrealized profit. Plus 2 over provided depreciation. Is that okay? And then intangibles. Intangible, we have two items, 87.5 plus 20. And we have a new item. A new item ni dalam leaf. Dalam leaf kita ada satu item baru iaitu apa tadi? Permit. Permit yang tiba-tiba ada nilai sebanyak 2 juta. Goodwill based on working to. And then kita ada investment in stamp. Kita dah eliminate. Investment in stamp, preference share kita eliminate. Investment in leaf kita eliminate. Other investment. So other investment ada 3, masing-masing ada other investment. Kemudian other investment of the parent. Ada investment of the parent tadi ada fair value gain sebanyak 10,000. Current asset, inventory, we add together tree, stem and leaf minus unrealized profit on inventory 1.44. Bills receivable, we add together the 3 companies, but we have to minus 100. Why we minus 100? Because 100 is long-term loan. Long-term loan between tree and leaf. Jadi ada kat sini nanti long-term loan kita kena eliminate di bawah. Mana dia? Long-term loan tolak dengan 100. Sama dengan di atas. Okay, trade receivable. Trade receivable. Okay, kita campur 3 company. Tapi kita kena tolak dengan cash in transit. Cash in transit sebanyak 8,000. Okay. Kemudian kita ada apa ni yang 2,000 ni apa? Trade receivable, kita tengok dekat trade payable. Trade payable pun ada tolak 2 juga. Jadi kita tengok dekat soalan apakah tolak 2 tadi. Berdasarkan kepada additional information nombor 8. Additional information nombor 8, dia kata 2,000 of the sale has yet to be paid by Tree Berhad. Jadi Tree belum bayar kepada Leaf sebanyak 2,000. Jadi yang itu adalah intercompany balance jugalah. Intercompany balance. So maknanya ada 2 intercompany balance lah. Yang pertama tu adalah cash in transit sebanyak 8,000. Yang kedua adalah intercompany balance yang belum dibayar. Okay. Ordinary dividend receivable. Ordinary dividend receivable, kita kena eliminate ordinary dividend receivable. Jadi siapa punya ordinary dividend receivable yang kita kena eliminate? Okay. Mula-mula ordinary dividend receivable ni kita ada 3 item iaitu 93.75 plus 37.5 plus 5. Masing-masing tree, stem dan leaf. Okey. Kemudian daripada banyak-banyak ni, okey, ada dividen yang diterima daripada stem dan leaf. Ada dividen yang diterima daripada stem dan leaf. Jadi berapa banyak yang stem bayar dividen? Stem bayar dividen kepada leaf berapa banyak? $75. Ya. Stem bayar dividen kepada leaf sebanyak 75. Daripada total dia bayar dividen sebanyak 100,000. Ya, dia bayar dividen sebanyak 100,000. Daripada 100,000 tu 75,000 adalah dibayar kepada tree. Jadi 100,000 dia bayar dividen, tree dapat 75. Sebab tu kita tolak 75 di situ. Okey, kita tolak 75 di situ. Okey, kemudian apa pula kita tolak 12.5 ni? Okey, 12.5 ni adalah dividen yang dibayar oleh leaf. Ya, 12.5 adalah dividen yang dibayar oleh leaf kepada tree. Dan 37.5 adalah dividen yang dibayar oleh leaf kepada stem. Okey, jadi kita kena eliminate. Kita kena eliminate semua tu. Okey. Kemudian amount yang sama juga kita kena eliminate di dalam ordinary dividend payable. Okey, dalam ordinary dividend payable kita lihat di sini amount 100 yang dibayar oleh stem kita tolak 75. Okey. Kemudian amount sebanyak 62.5 yang dibayar oleh leaf kita kena tolak dengan 12.5 dibayar kepada tree, 37.5 dibayar kepada stem. Dan 169 ni adalah dividend payable of tree. Kita tak usik lah yang ni. Okey. So itu cerita tentang dividen. Kemudian bank di atas ni, what dia 7.5, 51.25 and 70.5 ini kita tak usik. Dan kita ada cash in transit sebanyak 8,000. Okey, cash in transit sebanyak 8,000. Okey, kemudian equity, ordinary share of the parent, preference share of the parent. Okey, share premium ni kita dapat, general reserve ni kita dapat, group return profit kita dapat daripada mana? Daripada analysis of financial statement carried down. Dan current liabilities, long term loan. Long term loan kita tolak dengan 100 tadi, intercompany. Okey. Trade payables. Kita dah cerita tadi, kita tolak dengan 2 ni, intercompany. Bill payable, tak ada apa-apa tolak. Ordinary dividend. Kita dah cerita tadi. So, habislah. Ya. Habislah kita punya cerita tentang statement of financial position of tree, stem and leaf. Okey kelas, ada apa persoalan untuk yang ini? Okey, cuba fahamkan. Jadi untuk next class, kita akan tengok satu soalan. Kalau bolehlah kita nak tengok satu soalan statement of profit or loss. Kita tengok dulu sekejap, ada tak soalan statement of profit or loss. Okey, next class kita tengok soalan 2. Soalan 2 adalah combination of statement of profit or loss dan statement of financial position. Okey, so kelas yang akan datang kita akan tengok soalan yang kedua lah. Soalan yang kedua. Jadi saya rasa saya punya lecture untuk hari ini setakat ini saja. Kalau ada apa-apa soalan, saya akan entertain apa-apa soalan yang awak nak tanya. Ada tak apa-apa soalan? Ada apa-apa soalan? Kelas?
Setakat ni tak ada, Prof.
Okey. Okey, kalau tak ada, kita jumpa lagi pada kelas akan datang pada hari Rabu insya-Allah. So kita sudahi kelas kita pada hari ini dengan surah Wal-Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asri innal insana lafi khusr illa allazina amanu wa 'amilus solihat wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Prof.